Emailing all contacts one by one would send me to the asylum. There are limits to how many people you can email at once from, say, your Gmail, your Yahoo, or, I don't know, AOL inbox. If you want to run a successful business, you know that time is money, and being able to email market to new and past customers is crucial. Being in a chain gang by emailing them one by one is a recipe for disaster. Let's dive into how to use ActiveCampaign for email marketing. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add contacts to your ActiveCampaign account, how to draft an email from scratch, and then how to properly send it. I'll cover best practices so anyone at any level can jump right in. You'll need an ActiveCampaign account handy, so if you don't have an ActiveCampaign account, in the comments below I have a link so you can go ahead and get yourself started. Before we jump in, we need to do a little bit of groundwork. Let's call this segmentation. Say you have 100 email addresses that you have. Who are they? Are they contacts? Are they customers? Do you have the complete first and last name? Do you have their phone numbers? Do you know what they want to be emailed about? This is all crucial information, and let me tell you why. When you add these people into ActiveCampaign, you need to make sure they are properly identified with tags. Using these tags, we can make sure that the right emails are going to the right person at the right time. In a later video, I'm going to show you how you can ensure that new contacts are tagged automatically. But let's keep this simple for right now. First, let's add all your current email addresses to a spreadsheet. Here's the example I'm going to be using it. I have a link to it down below in the comments, so go ahead and get at it. I'm going to be jumping to my computer now, so we're going to do this together. So here we are in the spreadsheet. As you can tell in the spreadsheet, we have a couple of different named columns, and it's super important to make sure your columns are named. And again, this spreadsheet, I'm actually going to have down the comments just so you can grab it. It's a little bit easier that way. We have first name, last name, email address, and phone number. I also have two tabs, contacts and customers. When it comes to, say, migrating to ActiveCampaign, it's always good to make sure you have people a bit separated from the get-go, because sure, all customers are contacts, but not all contacts are customers. So once you fill this out, for example, Dane Schwabe, that's me by the way, once you would have this all the way filled out, we would then go to ActiveCampaign. Say if you have this whole thing filled out, you would just go to File, Download, and you go here for a comma separated variable, CSV. Now, when you download the CSV file, if you have, as you can see, totally different customers and stuff like that, meaning you have contacts on the customer tab versus the contact tab, make sure you download a separate CSV file. So the first one I downloaded was just for contacts. This one would be just for customers. Really important, because when it comes to uploading these people into ActiveCampaign, we need to make sure we have the right people tagged correctly. In ActiveCampaign, I always recommend creating some tags. For example, we're going to do example contact and example customer. Once, of course, we have our tags here, we click add tag. Now, the next place we need to go to is we need to go to contacts, and then we're going to go to the button called import. Up here at the top, then we're going to go here, import from file, because what we're going to do is we're going to upload the CSV file of our spreadsheet. Select the file, and then I'm going to make sure these are all mapped out. This is why I specifically mapped out all the tops of the columns so it already picks up on it. I do need to go ahead and add in phone number. Now if there's columns you don't want, for example I have this notes section right here, we just don't need to import it. Make sure you add them to your master contact list, and remember how we had those tags? So I'm just going to go ahead and add in the correct tag. What I find is helpful when it comes to adding tags to newly uploaded contacts is I actually recommend searching for the tag first, the one we just created, copying it exactly, then going here and pasting it. So here's the thing, if you misspell it, say do example contact or contact example, ActiveCampaign is just going to make a new tag. So this is one thing I always do, is I actually don't type it out. I was starting to, then I was like, wait a minute, let's do the best practice. So I always copy and paste the tag. Import contact as active. I always like to do update existing contacts while importing. Sure, it takes a little bit longer for it to work, but it's a great way to make sure you don't have duplicate contacts. I like to turn off trigger webhooks and trigger automations unless I absolutely need to. And for this, we can leave this one off too, because we're not creating any new custom values. I'll be covering custom fields, custom values in a later video. So we're going to go ahead and upload it from there. And if this all looks good, we just simply click the blue import button, and ActiveCampaign starts doing its little shimmy. With new contacts added in, let's create an email. In ActiveCampaign, you go to the email button, go up here to campaign, and we're going to click this nice beautiful blue create a campaign button. Now the first thing it's going to ask is to name the campaign. I typically recommend doing a naming convention such as the subject line, date it's going to be sent, and also if possible to who. So for example, open this now, 9/25 of 2023, new contact will. That kind of gives me a good idea about what type of email this is. Now down here, we're going to select standard. These are other options, and I personally think it's better to do these in automations, such as automated emails, date-based, autoresponder. I think campaigns in ActiveCampaign just do better with standard. In another video, I'll be explaining how to do split testing and the best ways how to do so, but right now, let's just stick with standard. So, we're going to click next. Now we need to select who we're going to be sending this to. So, I'm just going to do my master contact list. A thing I want to bring up is as soon as you select a list, you get to segment. So say for example, I'm sending my email to new contacts. Well, we should probably exclude people who are customer. You would just simply go down here, create new segment, and you can select, say if you know that people have a certain tag for being a customer, or heck, even this is a good example. Say for example, I want to exclude people who have booked a call because this email is going to be for new contacts. Tag exists that. So what I want to do is I don't want these people, does not exist. That way the people who do have that tag are not in the email. And if this is the segment I'd like to have, I would click done. I'm just going to skip that for now, but now you know. We're going to click on to next. Now before we can actually design the email, ActiveCampaign does give us a few options. There's email designer, classic designer, text only, and custom HTML. Text only is literally just text. So say if you have a transactional type email that you want to make sure has great deliverability, you would do text. If you are competent with HTML and you want to custom code something from the ground up, you'd select here. You do need to know HTML. In this video, I'm going to be going over the current email designer and also the classic designer. So we're going to start right here with email designer and click continue. After selecting the email designer, we have a few options. We can either start with a template or we can start from scratch. For this example, I'm going to be starting with a template. We're going to do a new blog post. Now, the first thing it's going to ask you the from email address, the reply to email address, and the subject line. Sometimes it is possible you don't have a subject line nailed down. What I do is I just type in NA. That allows me to move forward. Now, as you can tell, this email is pretty plain. There's just some boilerplate stuff in here, a couple of placeholder images, not a lot going on. On the right hand side, this is where we have all the parts to make up an email. I want to talk about this first. It's kind of nerdy. Structures. Structures is how you space stuff out in the email. For example, this is good if you have some side by side right here, while this is better for having a logo at the top. So the thing you want to do is structure is pretty much the foundation. Blocks go into the structure. Now typically when it comes to blocks, I only use a couple of these. I use images, text, and buttons. Spacers are handy too if you want to add a little space, and all these others are good. It really kind of depends on what you're trying to do, and this is where experimentation honestly takes place. Now if I want to modify this email, I'm going to do a couple things. Say for example, I want to change the logo. I would simply click on the image file, click change image, and my header is right here. Now of course that looks comically small, so we can just simply input it all the way up so it makes sense. Quick way to do that, adjust to width and responsive image. When it comes to buttons, I always love to format buttons. I always like to make sure I change the button color to whatever makes the most sense, say for my brand. And when it comes to the email copy, typically what I do is I do not write in here. I'll typically have a Google Doc with the email copy to copy and paste into here. Now say for example, I'm going to make this a YouTube video email letting people know that there's a new YouTube video. Obviously you're watching this on YouTube, so hey, this is a little wink wink nudge nudge to join my newsletter because this is what I do. I create emails and I let my subscribers know that there's a new YouTube video available. So I'm going to go ahead and build this out. And there you have it. I went ahead and copy and pasted my email copy from a Google Doc. I have my company header, an image. This is going to be a YouTube video that you might have actually seen already. And of course, a watch now button so it takes people directly to it. Now we're going to jump over and I'm going to show you what it takes to build in Classic Designer. I've been using ActiveCampaign for 5 years. Like last time, I'm going to be using a newsletter template. So let's dive in. Now at this part, I'm going to be showing you how to use the classic email designer. Parts of this are going to be the exact same as just what you saw. For example, we select a standard email. We select who we want to send the email to. That's the same. It's just right here, we click classic designer. And just like last time, we can start from scratch or we can use a ready-made template. Now typically what I do is I actually already have a saved template. So for example, I want to use that because I want to send that email we were just talking about. Subject line NA. As you can tell, when it comes to the design standpoint, the tools are similar but not the same. That whole structure menu, it's gone. It looks pretty similar. The real main difference between Classic Builder and the current builder is that there's no structure. You just have block. Now that's okay, and honestly, as I mentioned, I'm used to using this one. You have to be careful though, because sometimes when it comes to bringing in a block, you can accidentally do that. The nice thing about the structure approach is you can easily create columns. With the old builder, you have to be very careful because it gets a little chuggy on that. So say for example, I want to have these 2 columns, I have them right here. But when it comes to adding in email copy, adding in images, building buttons, it's honestly the exact same. Since I just showed that, I'm going to save you guys the time and we're going to move on to the next part, which is the email summary. Now say my email is ready to go. One thing I actually recommend, don't click next. Here's why. Click on the little gear icon right here. You want to make sure you update your subject line and also the preview text. It's 100% possible to do so when you click next, but when you are on the email summary page and you need to change your subject line or your pre-header text, it's going to take you back to the designer. This helps you save a quick step. So this is the subject line and here is preview. And of course, it's always nice to make things spelled correctly. By the way, if you ever want to do a custom field, for example, put the person's first name, you want to do it here too. Insert, close, and done. So now we're going to click next. So on the email summary page, let me show you what we have. We're able to see the subject line, the pre-header text, the from, the reply to, and make sure you have a reply to. Not having a reply to email address is a surefire way to make sure that your emails go to spam. We can see how many contacts we're going to be emailing to, and also a couple of options. Always have this one toggled. There's been a few times working with clients where they don't have that toggled and they wonder how many people open the email. Furthermore, if you have a Google Analytics account, you can go ahead and have it connected too. Down here is the schedule button. This is where you can actually schedule this email to go out at a certain date and time. If you want to send a test email, you can do so here. And pump the brakes. This is the send now button. One thing I don't like about ActiveCampaign is that they made every button up here the blue next one except for this. If you need someone to check this over, make sure you click save and exit, because if you click send now, it's going to send. By the way, if you do schedule the email, you just simply click finish because it's going to be ready to go for the next schedule. I'm personally going to click save and exit for this one. Now comes the fun part, crafting an email strategy for new contacts, creating newsletters for those contacts, and creating a weekly cadence. If this is your first time getting into email marketing for a client or even for your own business, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hey, it's Dane from the training you just watched. And I want to thank you honestly for getting all the way through the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and even leave a comment on something else you'd like me to cover. Down below in the comments and the description, I have some free resources for you guys to take care of, so just go for it. Business is hard enough. I'm just trying to give as much as possible.